What I'm about to read is from the NDERF, Near Death Experience Research Foundation, or nderf.org. This is an experience from Robert R.B. Now, this experience was probably a near-death experience because they have the NDE here. On some of them, they have probable or possible. So this one, they are classifying as a near-death experience. So let me tell you about it. My body had begun dissolving internal organs from extreme ketoacidosis. I began hyperventilating one evening and couldn't stop. My girlfriend had driven me to the closest VA hospital that was about 45 minutes away. When I arrived, I passed out at the check-in desk. It was determined that hyperventilating was my body attempting to release the carbon dioxide being generated from the ketoacidosis, dissolving my internal organs. They told me later that most people are only able to expel about 40% of the gas and die from asphyxiation. Luckily, I was expelling around 95%, which allowed me to survive long enough to get to a facility that could immediately resuscitate me. Now, the experience itself, I was immediately taken to something like the event horizon of a black hole. I saw the swirling gases flowing into a central black disk. Around it was an accretion cloud that was distorted by the intense gravity of the object. It was exactly as you see from scientifically accurate images of what black holes would look like. There was an invisible path in front of me that led into the black hole. I was hesitant as I knew it would be a one-way trip. While I was thinking about this, I got a sudden data dump into my brain. All knowledge of the universe was becoming available to me. All the questions I ever had in life were being answered. I felt contempt. Then I felt peaceful, and all the anger I carried in life was gone. I was truly happy, and I felt wonderful. Now I was ready to go wherever the path was leading me. I felt the presence of someone standing next to me, off to the side. I asked who he was. He replied he was an ancestor. I asked if he was my grandfather. He said no, far older. For some reason, I asked if he was Atlantean. He replied far older. He explained that he was part of the first colonists. I asked, colonists of what? He told me Earth. I could kind of glimpse him from the sides of my vision. He was wearing a black suit, like a form-fitting suit with metal plating covering portions of it. It was brown in color, with the metal portions looking coppery in appearance. He wore a helmet that almost looked like a stylized skull. I asked if I could see him. He told me that I hadn't reached full consciousness yet. He said that although we are the same species, he comes from a humanity that evolved on another world. His physical appearance is different and might be a little jarring. I asked why he was here. He replied, "You are not meant to stay." He was chosen to guide me back because I had no emotional connection to him. If I had seen a past relative that I knew, I might be inclined to stay. He warned me that my body was currently being worked on at a VA facility. I had basically signed over my body to them by accepting medical care. The government may be inclined to use my dead body for military testing. He warned me that fates far worse than death exist. Being kept alive against my will by scientists experimenting on me was one. Having no rights to my life was a literal living nightmare. He warned me that when it was time to leave Earth, it needed to be on my own terms. It was after this exchange that I awoke in my body 2 weeks after my temporary death. It had turned out that the doctors were able to bring me back to life and stabilize me afterwards. I had entered into a coma. My consciousness was gone, despite my brain not being dead. It was like I left behind a functional body with no software to run it. The doctors even told me it was as if my consciousness were somewhere else during this time. Fascinating, fascinating story. This one does have a lot of the hallmarks of a near-death experience, leaving his body, going somewhere else, having a guide of some kind of spirit guide or whatever this person was. Was he Atlantean? I don't know. But he was an ancestor of Earth, and he basically told Robert here to go back, that he needed to go back. And so this tells us a lot, really, because it's our mind, our soul, that's what keeps our bodies alive. There's all these other things that go on, but without the soul, there is no body. Body dies without the soul. That's why the soul leaves the body when we die. And that's how we die, physically die. We never really truly die because our souls live on and the souls are indestructible.